best budget phone out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.
They meet for the second Saturday running, do these teams? Bangladesh couldn't put on much of a fight last week, but expect the usual bite to return because this is the start of the Super Fours. The business end of the Asia Cup 2025 kicks off with Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh in Dubai. We set up that game on CMF by Nothing presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the company of Wasim Jafar and Abhinav Mukund. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Surely this won't be as one-sided as last week, Abhi.
Let's hope not, because I think Sri Lanka are playing really good cricket at the moment. I know Bangladesh have turned it around. They beat Afghanistan, and I really hope that Bangladesh continue on this streak, but it feels like Sri Lanka are pretty strong, so let's hope it's not a one-sided contest.
Yeah, it was wholesale changes for Bangladesh in what was a must-win game for them against Afghanistan. There were four changes, Wasim, and one of the points which, I remember both of you were on that game with us, that fifth bowler, the absence of it, almost came to hurt them. Do Bangladesh need an additional bowler going up against the Sri Lankan lineup?
100%. I think against the quality side, they need a fifth bowler because that was a big gap. They managed to win that one because both the spinners bowled well in that game. But it's not going to happen again. So I think they need to strengthen that. With so many left-handers in Sri Lanka, they need to pick Mehdi Hasan. And the batters need to take responsibility. Mehdi Hasan is a decent batsman himself. So, they promoted him in the first or second game, I think at number 5. So, he can bat. And I think he needs to come in. It's a straight swap. I don't know with who, but probably Nurul Hasan because, he hardly got to bat in that game as well against Afghanistan. Otherwise, Taskin did a decent job. Mustafiz, obviously, you need. And the couple of spinners have done really well. So I think that's the swap I'll probably make.
Yeah, Shamim and Saif Hassan played those 4 overs of the fifth bowler, which went for 55 against Afghanistan. Mehdi for Nurul seems like a no-brainer.
It does, but I think they would have had their doubts on, okay, why do we need the left-arm spinner? Thankfully, got the player of the match in the last game. So maybe they're not thinking on those lines, saying we have 4, or Sri Lanka have 4 left-handers. Do we actually need a left-arm spinner? So that's a conversation I think that will be had in the Bangladesh team camp. Instead of doing the Mehdi to Nasum swap, I just hope it's a Mehdi Nurul swap. I would like for Bangladesh to go with that combination because you need to go in with 5 bowlers. Simple as that.
So if you are worried, if Bangladesh are worried about Nasum with Sri Lanka's left-handedness, there could also be a case to bring Tanzim back and have 2 spinners and have 3 seamers, still 5 bowlers.
I think being a part of teams, I think it's very important to have a little bit of stability. So it's not ringing a loud message if you're dropping your player of the match from the last game who's bowled really well and say we are playing horses for courses. I don't think it works that way. If you need good teams, you need stability, and that's where I think don't make wholesale changes. Just fix one problem at a time and just make one change is what I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean, if this game was played in Sharjah, then I'll think about it because it was a small ground.
Yeah.
Dubai is a bigger ground. We've seen left-arm spinner picking up wickets against left-handers, so it doesn't make sense. And he's bowled well. He's come off after such a brilliant game, so you don't want to do that just because you've got left-handers. So I wouldn't do that, obviously.
All right. Sri Lanka will be likely forced into one change at least, and the heart goes out for Dunit Velalage, who's had to fly back home after the death of his father while Sri Lanka were contesting their last group stage game against Afghanistan. Our thoughts and prayers with Velalage. It will be a bowling choice. Farvez Maroof in his setup to this game told us that, which was before we knew about Velalage and his bereavement, that it will be one between him and Patirana and Theekshana. Which is the best horse for Sri Lanka's course?
I would say Theekshana because Dubai, we have seen the ball spin and spinners making it difficult for the batters, and on top of that Theekshana can bowl in the power play if needed. So I would probably go towards Theekshana. Patirana has not been in a great form lately, and they've got Tushara and Chamira and doing decent job. So spinners are doing bulk of the job so far what we have seen in the Asia Cup. So I'll go towards Theekshana.
There is a fifth bowler conversation potentially to be had here as well, because you've got Shanaka, Asalanka, and we haven't seen Kamindu Mendes bowl yet. Is that a satisfactory mix to complete your 4 overs?
It is as a captain, especially when the captain trusts himself as well. He always comes in, bowls a couple of overs. With the right-handers on show, maybe Shanaka might just get in a couple of overs. He trusts him. Even with the 18th over, we saw him going to Dasun Shanaka. So I don't think Sri Lanka have a fifth bowler issue. They have 4 or 5 quality bowlers in their ranks, so I don't see them having too much of an issue with the ball. The only issue they had was with their batting, but now I guess most of those holes are also quite plugged. So they look much settled than Bangladesh on paper.
All right, let's turn our attention towards the batting for both these sides. And a lot of the conversation for Sri Lanka from the first 2 games was, can anyone except for Pathum Nissanka score some runs? They got some much needed answers. Kusal Mendis with an invaluable knock. And there were contributions, small but significant contributions from most of the middle order. Sri Lanka as a batting group looking in much better shape.
They are. Mishara is another name that has got some runs. There's some quality players, Kusal, Pereira, then Charit Asalanka. As the tournament goes on, I'm sure they'll come to the party. But they look like a very settled unit. So far, whatever games they have played, they looked very convincing. Barring that 1 over from Velalage, they looked a very settled unit. Whether it's bowling, whether it's batting, or whether chasing or even defending. So I think they look a very solid unit. One of the favorites to probably get into the finals.
Bangladesh had their own relief as far as the batting goes. At the top of the order, Saif Hassan and Tanzid were a new pair, and they corrected what was quite a wretched run of opening partnerships. I think it was 12 runs in the last 6 T20Is for them. They will be pleased, but what are the areas for them to address, especially remembering how they were rolled over by Sri Lanka the last time these teams met?
It's a good sign for them, because if you have stability at the top, you can see how well their batting actually pans out. I'm expecting a lot more performances from Liton Das and even Tauhid Hridoy in this particular tournament. I think there's been a lot said about Tauhid and how much talent he possesses and how he can come into his own. I just feel that need to be aggressive, the need to show a little more intent would be nice from the Bangladesh batters. I felt Saif Hassan was a nice influx of energy at the top of the order. It gave Tanzid a chance to actually free his arms as well. A nice opening partnership of 60 plus. But then again, you would expect contributions from the middle order, and they will be tested. And I feel most of the Asian teams are tested against spin, which is quite ironic now, because there used to be a time when spin used to be a strength for most subcontinental teams. But I felt Bangladesh struggled a bit with the spin of Afghanistan in the middle there. So you'd expect a lot more spin from the Sri Lankans as well. It'll be nice if someone counters that by playing solid cricket.
All right, let's get into predictions. Wasim Jafar is already putting Sri Lanka in the final, so I'm assuming you have them winning this game.
Yeah, Sri Lanka look a solid unit, so I'll go with Sri Lanka.
Are you trying to balance the scales in the studio, or?
I don't think there's any balance. I'm just adding weight to that.
All right, Sri Lanka the favourites as per our panel. Thank you so much, Wasim Abhinav, for setting up the game for us. It is quite neck and neck between these two sides. It's 4-4 at multi-team men's T20 events. It is also 4 apiece in T20Is since 2024. Which way will it go then this time around?
Best budget thrown out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.